Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and this video is especially directed to fellow songwriters who haven't maybe explored writing in no-time signatures. I will not die here. So once we've done that, we can start creating a grouping with the 5-beat meter. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. I will not die here. Hello everybody, I hope you're well. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that is songwriting in no-time signatures, and I specifically refer to songs with lyrics, not instrumentals. And this video is especially directed to fellow songwriters who haven't maybe explored writing in no-time signatures, or maybe have just started playing around with that idea, but are looking for ways to maybe get more familiar in hearing things in odd times. So I'm gonna set up the project, tune my guitar, and we can get started. So when I first got into music, I associated odd time signatures with genres like progressive rock and progressive metal because, I was mainly navigating a very guitar heavy sort of styles of music that, included long solos and a lot of sort of intricate parts. But of course, there's a plethora of odd time signatures found in modern music and styles beyond that. So you've got bands like Radiohead, who of course they're not the stereotypical pop band, but they exist in that sort of alternative pop sort of universe. You got artists like Sting, and of course certain works of bands like Pink Floyd use odd-time signatures. There's a whole wealth of music that utilizes them. Now, as far as my personal journey goes, if I had to narrow down on a couple of artists that got me excited and got me interested in exploring songwriting and odd-time signatures, I'd have to say that the first one was definitely Sting. I think 10 Summoner Tales was a really seminal album for me personally, and Porcupine Tree. And the funny thing with Porcupine Tree, one of my my best friends was really into Porcupine Tree, and at the time that he was really into Porcupine Tree, I was like really into like metal and like shred guitar and stuff. So I remember him playing records, and I just never really got it, and I subsequently got it much later on. But those two artists really inspired me to start basically feeling songs and ideas in odd times. Now, as far as my personal approach with writing in odd-time signature goes, and it never is a part of the brief. I know that some artists, sit down and they say, okay, let's write a song in 7 or 5, or, write something that changes a billion odd-time signatures, which can be really cool. For me, at least as far as the core ideas go, lyrics and harmony and stuff and chords just come out that way. And I can attribute that really with just being exposed to a lot of that music. I'm not sure if it has anything to do with my upbringing. I mean, although I wasn't really a big music fan when I was younger, I was exposed to a lot of traditional Greek music, and there's a lot of odd times in traditional Greek music. And I just generally, I think I soaked in artists whose approach was to really focus on the song, and instead of just making the odd-time signature like the showpiece of a song, is just how the idea is felt. It's not something that you impose on the idea to show it off, if that makes sense. Now, having said that, I sort of sat down and I thought of a few creative exercises that you can do if you want to get more familiar with odd-time signatures. And what's really important to remember, things rarely feel natural right away. You'll probably feel that you're sort of battling your inner clock when you first start getting into odd-time signatures. And what will happen over time is, you'll get more accustomed to the odd-time signatures and the space, around it. And you'll hopefully start hearing ideas in odd-time signatures. The more comfortable you get with them, and the more immersed you get into the sound. Today we're going to be exploring an idea in 5/8. I love writing in 5. Fall on Me's in 5. Fire is in 5. Daffodil has some 5 in there, although it's, the song does change a few time signatures. So it is a time signature that, I don't know, kind of makes sense to me, I guess. So I will be tailoring those little exercises to fit that setting, the 5/8 setting. Now, before we get into any exercises, of course, a very important thing that you can do is to start listening to music that is written in odd time signatures. The amount of information you're going to absorb by doing that is just priceless. So if this is something that interests you, go and listen to artists and that write in odd time signatures. And you know, the internet is great in that way. You can Google pop artists or rock artists or artists that write in odd time signatures, and you'll find a plethora of music. So go ahead and do that. You know, get songs like that in your playlist. Start connecting with music that's written in odd time signatures. So let's start with the first step. So since we're going to be exploring getting more comfortable with 5/8, I came up with a lyric that has 5 syllables, and every syllable will be reflecting one of the beats in our bar. Okay? Now, I thought very hard about what lyric I should go for, and I came up with quite an epic lyric, which I would probably include if I wrote a song about the battle between, you know, good versus evil. Our lyric is gonna be, I will not die here. So we got a lyric, now let's come up with a progression. So we got 1 bar of E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, D major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and A sus2. You got your lyric, it's a 5-syllable lyric, so if we sing every syllable on every beat, it will fit perfectly in a bar. We're gonna start by basically singing, I will not die here. That's just like a melody, whatever. It's not a song, I just came up with it. You can steal it, and if you sell millions, give me like 10%. So, I will not die here, na 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 na. And we want to cycle it around. So, I will not die here, I will not die here, I will not die here, I will not die here. Great for your splat breath if you're a singer. Splat breath is basically when you let your stomach come out and you fill up with air if you need to sing more. It's great if you're singing like fast lines. But basically what that will do, especially if you're not familiar with odd times, it will start to hopefully get you more familiar with the 5-beat cycling kind of thing. And also it will get you gradually more familiar with thinking of lines, hopefully, in odd times. So you can go ahead and do this with another lyric. Write a simple 5-syllable lyric and cycle it over a set progression. So once we've done that, we can move on by doing something very common in music, and we can start creating a grouping within the 5-beat meter. So a very, very usual thing to do is to divide it in 2 and 3, which will give you an accent on the first beat and the third beat. So instead of thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Before we touch our accompanying instrument, we want to get comfortable with how we're going to phrase our lyric, all right? So we've got 5 syllables, and if we follow this approach, we're going to have 2 syllables per bar. We're going to have a syllable that is going to have to be played on its own. For that, and as a rule, we're going to say that whenever you have a syllable that's left on its own, you're just going to play that, and you're going to cycle in the bar, and you're going to go back to the beginning of the groove. Let me showcase that. So again, we're splitting the groove in beats of 2 and 3. So the first syllable, I, is going to come on the first beat, I, and the will is going to come on the third beat, I will. Then not is going to come on the first beat, not. Die is going to come on the third beat, die. And here is going to come on the first beat, and you can let let the bar flow. And because since we've got a 4-bar chord progression, we can have silence on the 4th bar, so we can come in the beginning and do this again. Before you play, you want it to make sense in your head. So what you want to do is you can count. I mean, I'm counting that way so you can also see the beats, but I'm going to put numbers on the screen probably. So I will not die here. So let's get our instrument involved and play 8 notes, da 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 da. So you want to think it as a 2 and 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, so let's put it together with a lyric. I will not die here. I will not die here. Already, to my ears, that sounds more crafted than our very first example. The other thing that we can do is the reverse. So we had 2 and 3, now we can do 3 and 2, which means that the first syllable is going to come on beat 1, and the second syllable is going to come on beat 4. So the way we're going to be thinking the 5 is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So before we touch our instrument, we want to do the same thing. We want it to make sense in our head. So we're going to count. I'm going to put numbers on the screen, but I'm also going to be doing this. And we want to fit the syllables with the new subdivision. So again, 3 and 2. So I will not die here. We're going to do the same thing as far as our comping. We just want to follow those accents. So again, we're going to be thinking of this as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So I will not die here. I will not die here. I will not die here. So that's quite interesting. It gives a different flavor to the words. And the last example we're going to take a look at today is to split it in 2, 2, 1. So we're going to have the first syllable on the first beat, the second on the third, and the third on the fifth. Again, it's a 5-syllable lyric, which means that on the next bar, we're not going to have enough syllables to fill the entire bar, but that's absolutely fine. We can see this as a 2-bar cycle. So how would be, again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. I will not die here. I will not die here. And what you want to do is you want that to be reflected in the way you comp. Again, I'm not doing nothing local, so just going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So let's put the chords and the melody together. I will not die here. 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 So once again, same meter, but the different grouping gives us a different feel. And the other really important aspect that this practice will aid is to get more comfortable in slowly creating more elaborate accompanying parts for your vocals, for your lyrics. Of course, sometimes all you need is to hear those eighth notes going, but sometimes you might want to create something more elaborate. Let's see if I can come up with something over this. I will not die here. I will not die here. Sounds like progressive Ed Sheeran, but you know what I mean. So anyway, I hope those steps made sense. I might do a follow-up video exploring a different time signatures, but I think that if those steps made sense, you can sort of translate them into a different time signature. So if you wanted to explore 7/8, you can start by creating a 7-syllable lyric, start by playing it on every beat of the meter, and then start doing groupings of the meter. So you can split it like 4 and 3, 3 and 4, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, and then basically cycled in the same way I did it over the 5. What that will do, again, hopefully, is it will start basically cultivating your intuition and your instinct to get to the point where you feel comfortable navigating those time signatures, with the ultimate goal of being able to start hearing ideas in those time signatures. So once again, thank you for tuning in. I'd be very interested to hear actually if you attempted this. Please let me know in the comments. I hope you found it useful. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. If you want to check out the songs that were featured in this episode, go to the description. I've got all my links there for everything. And stay well, stay healthy, keep writing, keep jamming, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.